Peak Wealth Management proudly presents the Trust the Plan podcast with Nick Hopwood and Jim Pilat, where we believe by providing education and guidance, we can help you retire with peak confidence. Now, here are your certified financial planners, Nick and Jim.
Welcome everyone to the Trust the Plan podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jim.
Jim, we believe by providing education and guidance, we can help you retire with
peak confidence.
Yep, and you got to stay hydrated though, okay? See, I'm already down to 7 p.m. and it's only like 1:30, so I'm way ahead of the game.
You're
here.
an overachiever.
Yeah, well, got my blood work, and then they're like, "You're still dehydrated." Like, that's impossible. I don't know how that could be. So, anyway, welcome to the program. Today we're going to be talking about the largest blue chips, 1990 versus 2025.
Okay.
Let's do it. Here we go. The largest 20 companies at the end of 1990 by market cap. Number one, Exxon Mobil, way ahead of everyone with IBM, the top two. I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah, for sure. They're way ahead of them all.
What jumps out you? What jumps out to you besides those two companies as number one and two?
I mean, continuing to review down the list, seeing Walmart, Bristol Myers, some of the other pharma companies on there, it seems to be a value-heavy list.
Industrials, right? Retailers.
Companies that we think of as value companies, steady growers, consistent returns, not a lot of the growth and high-flying that we saw towards the end of the 90s that really became popular.
There's really only one tech company here, right? IBM?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it. And so now, flip over to 2025. First thing that jumps out to me, besides the first 7 companies are all tech companies, what jumps out is just the scale, okay? Scale is unbelievably bigger.
Yeah.
Right, so Microsoft at 3.5 trillion, and back in the day, Exxon was 64 billion. So it's like, what, 5 times bigger?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's
50 times bigger.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. 50 times bigger. Remarkable. And then even Walmart here at 34 billion, Walmart at 777 billion. So there's a strong case for like buy and hold, right? Like even though Exxon is no longer number one, they're like number 17. They've still gone from 64 billion to 452 billion. Exceptional, right? But there would have been opportunity cost along the way.
For sure.
Right? Because, if you just owned the S&P 500, for instance, back in 1990, Microsoft Microsoft probably wasn't even part of the S&P in 1990.
Right.
NVIDIA certainly wasn't.
Yeah, it was definitely not.
Maybe Apple was. Amazon wasn't, Alphabet wasn't, Meta wasn't. None of these companies were even in existence. But by owning the index, these companies, they start growing up, they become part of the index, and then you get to ride the wave without having to be smart enough to pick that stock.
Right. Yeah, I think one of the things that stands out to me, like you said, buy and hold, there's some situations on there where it looks good and you did well. But to me, the bigger takeaway is that buy and hold is not always the way to go, right? With some of these single stocks, right? You look at the big players of the 90s, and you thought you're crazy if you don't own Exxon. You're crazy if you don't own IBM. Well, what happens if you just kept owning them, right? You dramatically underperformed the market over the last several years. Where this really stands out to me too is the late 90s, where we saw the tech bubble. Right, you had to be in Intel, you had to be in Cisco, you had to be in these high flyers, or you were getting left behind. And how are those guys doing today?
Right, some of those top guys you mentioned, Cisco and Intel, they have not done well. Like Cisco, the 25-year stock price is 0.
Yeah,
25 years.
Yeah,
literally 0, and that's with dividends.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Intel, I think, I don't have that stat memorized, but not very good.
Not very good at all.
Microsoft stands out, right?
Yep. But only recently. Yeah. Microsoft had probably a 15-year stretch where it did nothing.
Right. When Ballmer was CEO, it went nowhere fast.
Yeah.
And then they changed their strategy around.
Right.
So let's see. GE in 1990, I always think of Jack Welch and GE, and I think maybe GE at some point maybe became the largest, if memory serves, or I think that they made it into the top tier, whereas here they're in the lower tier.
Right.
But that stock did nothing, for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. Ford Motor Company, it's not here.
Yeah.
But Ford was like the number one stock between 1950 and 1990, something like that. And since 99, it's been down.
Right.
26 years down.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. So then you contrast that with looking at those stocks of today, right? And what do people say? You got to be in Microsoft, you got to be in Nvidia, you got to be in, Facebook, Apple, all these high flyers, and they haven't been a bad place to be. Obviously, they've been the best, but to blindly say you can be in that the rest of your life is maybe not true. If we look back on history, so I think you were talking about it earlier. I think the strategy or the way to do it is we got to index. Right, we can't just pick one stock and think it's going to take us forever, But by indexing, you participated in all this growth. You participated in all these companies as they on the rise, as they became what they are today.
What about the fact that, Jim, these top 5 or 6 or 7 companies make up such a high percentage of the S&P?
Yeah, that's an interesting, phenomenon as well, right? Because the top, I think it's like the top 7, 8 companies or something represent like 25% of the S&P.
Yeah.
So what that speaks to is making sure you're diversified beyond just a single index.
Yep, that's right. So, and it's very blended to large cap growth here, right? So, so if you only own, we see a lot of people who come in, they show us their portfolio, they're super heavy tech and large cap growth, whereas like in 1990, everyone wanted to be in the large cap value, and so we see a big divergence between the U.S. and international, but also large cap growth, which are these Microsoft and Nvidias of the world, versus the industrials and the value stocks of the world, like Exxon and Procter and Gamble and Johnson and Johnson and J.P. Morgan, Walmart. I think Walmart and J.P. maybe are probably overvalued here. Not advice, but the industrials of the world, right? A lot of analysts are really high on them. And it's not just NVIDIA that benefits from AI. People down the chain leverage these technologies to make their businesses better. Like, I don't know, pick any company and they're going to be leveraging the benefits of AI to be more productive.
For sure. Some logistics companies, industrial companies are going to be able to utilize what AI can do to really benefit and maximize their company profits.
That's right. So, there's one more thing here. In 2025, the top 20 total is 25 trillion, and the S&P is 54 trillion. Let's compare that to 1990. Oh, we're not getting it. 530 billion versus 25 trillion. Wow.
It's wild.
Yeah, that is. Well, if you'd like to learn more, visit us at peakwm.com. You can schedule an appointment online.
Peak Wealth Management thanks you for watching and listening to the Trust the Plan podcast, featuring certified financial planners Nick Hopwood and Jim Pilat. If you enjoyed our program, please subscribe and share. If you'd like to learn more about our services, please visit peakwm.com. peakwm.com today. See you next week.